Hello again, everyone. This is Yi from the Sanctum of the Soul, and today I will be doing a review of the Enchanted map by baron-reid. So, just a few words in advance. I really do love this deck, and I think it complements really well with some of baron-reid's other works, like the Good Tarot, for example. So you can do a reading with the tarot and then a supplementary reading with the oracle, and I think they fit really well together in terms of the artwork and the energy. So anyway, I will be covering a review of this some other time, but first things first, the deck comes in a really sturdy box, and it's the typical Hay House kind of box, as you can see. Yeah. So this is not a new deck. I've used it for quite a bit. So obviously there's going to be a bit of wear. So what you get at the start is this guidebook. And as guidebooks go, it is pretty good. Like, you get at least 2 pages per card. And I think because of how the artwork is, it's based quite loosely, I guess, on the Enchanted map, which is a book by the same author. So for those of us who haven't read the book, the guidebook is obviously useful, but what I like to do is look through all the cards, and if you do have the time, to think about what each card means, and then cross-reference it with the guidebook and see which one you agree with more. Ultimately, personal interpretations are more important than what the guidebook says. Sort of like, literature. So the guidebook, it's more than 150 pages, and don't remember if it's, there isn't. So there aren't any sample spreads, but they do this prescribed kind of meditation before you do it. And I mean, if you want to do it, by all means, but personally, I have my own preparation before I start reading the cards, so I don't really follow the very prescriptive kind of guide, but that's all personal preference. Again, this is not a new deck, and all I did was rearrange the cards back in order. So this is the back of the card, and if you read the guidebook, they do offer reversed meanings, so you can do a reversed card spread if you want, and the card backings are symmetrical, so it's conducive for that. Mine is a newer edition, so the sides aren't gilded, so if you do want the gilded one, it's out of production, but you might be able to get one online somewhere. But the reason there isn't any gilding left is because of lots of issues in the production, and the cards are sticking together so tightly that apparently, if reviews are to be believed, cards were getting damaged when they separate them. So yeah, I mean, it's not a big issue. I am a big fan of gilding, but I do agree that a lot of times the gilding kind of messes up the cards. Card stock wise, these are really sturdy cards, quite typical Hay House production, I guess, and it is on the big side, so for people with small hands, like my hands aren't too big, might be an issue in shuffling. I mean, this deck isn't too thick, it's 54 cards, so that's not too much of an issue. But on the other deck, the Good Tarot, that's 78 cards. So yeah, that was an issue. So I could have done with a thinner card stock, but I'm not complaining. It's a small issue. So without further ado, let's just go into the cards and what I feel about them. So I really do love that there is this heart here, and the colors are amazing. Colette baron-reid's decks have this dreamy kind of feel. So you can see, I can't quite put it, a description to it, but it's just this dreamlike energy, like it's a surreal kind of energy, which I really like. I'm not a big fan of overly light kind of decks. Obviously I do have some decks that are entirely light and some more balanced ones or more vibrant, darker kind of energies. So this one's quite gentle, and I feel like when I'm not feeling too happy or too energetic, decks like these really do help, because it's so gentle, and even when you're interpreting it, when you're interacting with the energy, it's not too jarring. So the first card is the Bone Collector, and I really love this card as it's this ode. I'm pretty sure it's an ode to lady, but it could go both ways, I guess. So she's sitting on this pentagram, and she has all these relics and bones and skeletons around her. So, and she does have this halo around her head, so you can tell that she is doing a sacred duty. And what she's doing is collecting the bones, or the things that no longer serve us. So when you see this card, I guess it probably means that it's time to let go of things, and give it to the Bone Collector. And I like that she's sitting in the middle of a desert, but at the same time there are still green trees, and the skies are not entirely arid, so there is life. And I guess in order for life to thrive, things must die, and that's the cycle of life. So yeah, this is a beautiful first card. And the second card, which is the Gentle Gardener, I like that there are fairies around, and so instead of planting seeds, they're planting eggs. So what they're doing is breathing life, as this goddess figure, I guess. It's breathing life into your ideas, your dreams, and your aspirations, and so you're supposed to sow the seeds and let them hatch into reality. So it's a manifestation card. Honestly, not a big fan of the empty looking sky. It's a small issue, but the sky's larger than the ground, so in a way it gives me a sense that it's not too grounded in reality. But that's just me, and honestly it's not a big issue. Third card, the Wizard of Awareness. So this is very similar to the Magician card in the tarot, as well as perhaps the Hermit card. So behind us is Triskelé symbol. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And if you look closely, his energy is really earthy, and I guess when you talk about awareness, in a lot of times, especially in the New Age community, it's all about spiritual awareness, and we kind of neglect the physical awareness part. In a way, a lot of us don't really fit in with the rest of society, and that is because we are not grounded enough in reality. And sometimes, I believe personally in a perfect balance between spirituality and physicality. So in order to live your life to the fullest, you kind of have to engage with the real world as well. So when you do have this card, it's telling you to go into introspection, my god. You go into introspection and introspective awareness of, amalgamation of spiritual and physical worlds. And I like that the staff has a green glow to it, which again, to me is an earthy kind of life and fertility, I guess. So it kind of tells you that the awareness he's speaking of, it's more grounded and less of the, the purple violet kind of energy. The fourth card, Spirit of Place. I really do like this card. I like that this deck is quite inclusive. In a way, it's not a big deal to me, but a lot of people will like this. You see, there's this Asian looking woman, and there's this old guy, and people of different skin color and different cultures. And I really do like diversity in decks. I mean, it's a bonus to me. It's not a deal breaker if it's not diverse. Yeah, anyway, so the Spirit of Place, it looks like she's growing on a giant tree trunk, and you see the leaves are falling. So to me, this is a card that symbolizes, knowing who you are inside, and it's just beautiful. It's awareness of who you are is growing. You are the spirit of your own place, and this is your world and your reality. So when you manifest what you want, you are the spirit of the place. So it is a nice perspective, because when you go into some other place like a forest, and we always talk about there being a guardian or spirit of the forest, and it's beautiful to think that you are the spirit of your own forest, your own internal environment, your own internal world. So this is lovely. And you see the moth or butterfly, I guess, butterfly wing around the eyes, and this is a common theme that you find throughout Colette baron-reid's decks. It's usually used to symbolize intuition and spiritual awareness. So again, this is a really nice balanced card. You see the death in the fallen leaves and life in the greenery of the trees, as well as spiritual and physical. This card, Goblins. So when I first saw this card, I thought, is it something to do with fears, or inner fears? So I had to look at that up, and according to the guidebook, it is about inner fears, and the goblins are a part of the journey in the book, the map, I think. So yeah, basically it's telling you that all these goblins, they're mythical, they are not real. So these fears are in your head, and they're not grounded or founded in reality. So when you realize that all these holes without the goblins, it's a beautiful forest, and holes are places where lots of animals live, like rats and mice and bees, the stingless bees, for example, and even beautiful birds like the budgies. They all live in tree holes, so there is nothing to fear in them, and in fact those are sanctuaries where life can thrive. This card, it's interesting. This card is also featured in the book, so I had to look that up as well, because I couldn't really tell what the card means. So let me show you the guidebook. mountain, you have the capacity to flow around any obstacle. This is the time to adapt. So the upright meaning is sometimes you come across what appears to be an insurmountable obstacle, like a huge mountain that separates you from your success. You might think that climbing it or chiseling away at it is the answer, but wait, why take such a treacherous, tedious approach? Be like the rivers that flow around mountains naturally. You'll move past this obstacle relatively quickly if you choose the easy way around. This is the time to adapt to your circumstances. If you do decide to climb, remember to take one step at a time, opting for the next right action. So that meaning was not immediately clear. I don't really see a river. There's a waterfall here, but you don't see the river. So I thought, it was kind of dodgy. So to me, I feel like the face on the mountain, it's kind of showed like in Chinese, and I think probably some other pagan religions, mountains are gigantic spirits or gods, and I think as the mountain symbolizes, an obstacle, when the moonlight shines on it, it reveals that it is in fact sentient. So to me, it is about overcoming your obstacles, but in a way where you negotiate with the obstacles and you kind of treat the obstacle as an energy that you can negotiate with. You can kind of talk to, I guess, and navigate your way through. And so listening to the guidance and what the obstacles have to teach you will help you, get rid of the obstacle faster. Into the unknown. So this is the very first card where you see civilization. Everything else has been kind of natural. So this card, I really do like it. She looks like the queen of a chess piece, or perhaps the bishop, and the checkered floors kind of remind you of that as well. So the most interesting part is that she's blindfolded, and you can sort of see a rainbow at the back. So at first glance, to me, this looked like darkness, like it was nighttime, but it doesn't seem that way on closer inspection. And the purple flowers, to me, are symbols of intuition. So she has given up on physical sight and opted for stepping into intuition. And the colors symbolize as well, the Ashna chakras. So that kind of symbolizes purple and blue, kind of expression of inner truths which you might be afraid to go into. So sometimes it's good to just blindfold, get rid of all your expectations, and just follow that intuition, be brave, take that leap of faith. And I think this is nice as well. It feels like the curtains are being drawn back into newer perspectives, newer possibilities. So I'm going to have to go a bit faster because we have 54 cards and I don't know if the battery and the memory will hold up. So this deck will have a few cards with giraffes on it. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of these cards, mainly because of how out of place things like this heart is. But this is a nice card nonetheless. When you see the two giraffes, almost like they're kissing, and together they are holding up hearts that hold up the bird. So what it feels like is, by coming together, by working together with other people or spirits, you are allowing yourself to rest. You're allowing yourself to calm down from your flight and find a loving place to rest. Also, this heart would not have been able to, remain upright had there only been one giraffe. So, cooperation is key. So it kind of tells you to not be afraid to seek help and cooperate with others, or to go out and help others. I do really love this card. Again, you see the chest road path here, and it kind of reminds me of Alice in Wonderland somewhat. The battle, the red and the white queen. It just feels like, chess pieces, or that kind of surreal kind of feeling. Anyway, so this is a field, and you see the storm here. So what this means is there is chaos coming, and you have to take shelter, or to brave through the storm, depending on the context of your reading. And I really do love that decks like these are not afraid to show you the nitty-gritty of life. Some decks like Dorian Virtue's decks, they're all positive cards, but I like that the cards are honest with you, and it kind of just shows you that there will be chaos in life, and that's inevitable, and that is part of life. So I prefer to have a reading that's honest. And rock bottom is quite self-explanatory. What I do like is strange perspective that it's literally rock at the bottom, but there are two paths out of the rock, or out of the bottom, and there is hope, and there is more than one way out. And so I really do like it. And in a way, you're also saying that to get to the other side, sometimes you have to go through the rock bottom to be able to get to the other side and start on your journey back out of the bottom. So this is a very nice transitional card. Balancing act. This is absolutely gorgeous. She's like this lady. She's like a marble statue come to life, or she's standing on a marble statue. Who knows? And she's holding on to this ring, which is balancing this bubble, on top of which there's a ship. And I think that's such a precarious kind of a, balancing act. This is a balancing act, this is a balancing act, and she herself is balancing on the back of this marble angel. So yeah, again, it's quite explanatory. Slow and steady. You see, again, she's wearing this mask, so it kind of symbolizes that she knows exactly where she's going. The wings here, there's some insect wings, probably like a bee, symbolizing, movement. And honestly, it's not that relevant to the cards. What's relevant is here, where you have the snail shell, and that is of course slowing her down, but at the same time it provides security and safety along the travels. So this is a really nice card telling you to slow down, take it slow, take it safe, and it's not always good to rush into things. Solitude. Oh wow. So this is quite self-explanatory as well. Telling you to take time out to rest on your own. Perhaps your energy is getting spread out to too many people, too many things, and it's time to just sit back and be alone. And solitude. I love solitude sometimes, and it's such a great way to recharge. And so that's the card. Ride the wave. So go with the flow. One ring circus. This is another card with a bit of contention. The guidebook says that This card means that you're capable and competent, and you're being independent as you step into your journey, and maintaining clear boundaries and be discerning about your partnerships. To me, I don't really see that in the cards. You know, the elephant is literally stuck on a rock, and I don't feel like there is anywhere to go at all. So, to me, it's again to take a step back, to kind of not go anywhere at that point, and just to consider how to get yourself out of a situation. And the lady is looking towards the moon, which symbolizes in the tarot the revealing of secrets. So perhaps you're seeking a solution. Another way to interpret this might be a feeling of getting stuck. You have all these water around you, which might symbolize emotions, and you're getting stuck in them, or you're getting detached from your emotions. So the beautiful part about oracles and tarots is that there's so many ways you can read the card, and it's really up to your own interpretation. Rescue. So she's standing on this floating island and waiting for this to rescue you. Again, the balloon is green and symbolizes heart energy, so you kind of have to reach out with your heart to get rescued. Ghostlands. This is a very interesting card. It feels like it's where things have gone to die, where things have gone, things that no longer have a place in the world. And that could be like your insecurities, your past issues. And so this card could be telling you that what you're doing now is getting stuck in the ghostland, being stuck in the past. At the same time, it could also be telling you that there are issues in the past that you should be resolving before moving ahead. So that is a lovely card. Magic Stream. This card has a bit of a defect here, and this came the moment I unboxed it. So because of that, and I don't know if you can tell, but I've been pulling out these plastic strips. So one thing I'm not too impressed with Hay House is I've basically almost never gotten a deck which was perfect. There's always some sort of defects in the decks. I mean, defects like this, I'm okay with them. I'm not very fussy about them. But my good tarot has quite a bad defect that I have written in about, which I will show you in the other video. So anyway, the magic stream feels like the stream of your emotions, and just get in touch with your emotions. Dragon's Lair. Traditionally the dragons always symbolizes danger, so it could mean that you are walking into a dangerous situation. I don't think the dragons, the positive interpretations of dragon energy is applicable here. So yeah, I have to say this again, I really like how balanced the card is. You get these beautiful sunny days, and you get this, ominous looking skies and scary looking dragons flying. So I do love that this deck is balanced that way. And flying, so you're kind of going above your obstacles instead of navigating it like slowly and manually. You are given the option to fly above it and take a shortcut out. So when I say shortcut, I don't mean like a shortcut, but that with awareness of your situation, with awareness of what it is that's taking away your freedom, you'll be able to rise above it. Field of Dreams. again, not a big fan of this card because of how similar it looks to this, and even the meaning's a bit similar. So here, where you plant your seeds of your aspirations in your dreams, and here is the field of dreams. So, not too big a fan of it. Yeah. Intention. So this is the card that I really like because it isolates one of these into this. So you see the dandelion, which is, you know, it is a plant, which is earthy, but at the same time, it's dispersed by wind. So it is the perfect harmony of wind and earth energy. And the owl, again, birds have to land, and the owls usually symbolizing wisdom and knowledge. So your intentions being placed on a pedestal and nurtured by these, you know, wise, wisdom grounded in earth kind of entities, kind of spirits. So this is great. And like all things, intention, you know, things start with an intention before it hatches into reality. So this is a perfect card. Golden Palace. I interpreted this deck as this card as you know, your perfect sacred home, guarded by nature and grounded in the earth. And again, this is crescent moon, so you kind of and this huge thing behind, which I'm assuming is the sun. So this is like the perfect state of being, your sacred home, your sacred soul. So let me read out what the book says about this card. It says there is always enough. So it represents good fortune, ambitions fulfilled, wealth and prosperity, and emotional fulfillment. And here it comes from what you are, how authentically you're living your life, and how much love you're willing to share. So I guess you're supposed to be inviting people into your home, and that's why you have this beautiful palace that's able to host people rather than just, you know, the spirit of the place, which looks more natural. Stuck in the mud. Yeah, it's quite self-explanatory. Metamorphosis, and I really do love this card. Look at that. So you have the metamorphosis of, you know, the pupa into a butterfly, and at the same time you get these moth wings on the flamingos as well. So moths and butterflies, the two sides, again, balance of light and dark. And yeah, the interesting thing is a new batch of caterpillars has just arrived on my pomelo plant, and one of them somehow managed to get from outside the home into my shoe rack, and has turned into a chrysalis on my shoe rack. So I'm waiting for them to grow and I can release them and they'll come back again, hopefully. So the interesting thing is these butterflies have been following me around because I've moved about 30 kilometers away, and back in the day I had where I used to live, I had butterflies come all the time, and here as well, even though I'm 14 floors up. So yeah, home. And this is the kind of home that calls out to me, like a natural treehouse looking kind of home. And yeah, look at that, welcome life. And yeah, the owl living in it, and it's just so full of life. And I think in all our homes and all our lives, we have the space and the capacity to host all these other beings, other people, other plants, animals, spirits. And I think that's what home is. Home is what energies and what people you choose to surround yourself with. So that is beautiful. What I don't like is that there's just so many home cards in this deck. This is the third one, and at some point, yeah, like it's a bit redundant. Yeah. But I guess there are slight nuances to the cards. Yeah, so this one's more of a natural, rural, pastoral kind of home, while the other one is more like affluence. So I guess that one has the more prosperity, abundance kind of meaning. So we are at the halfway mark. I'll try to do a few more, but I'm pretty sure that I'll have to do a part 2 because, yeah, I had no idea that this was going to take this long. Anyway, the Deep Freeze. Again, this card is similar to the Stuck in the Mud card. But according to the guidebook, it's everything has a season. Now is the time to put activity on hold while you rest. So it's more about hibernation than about getting stuck per se. But I felt like it could have been better illustrated because the lion doesn't look like it's resting. It looks like it's frozen to death. And I think hibernation, like a bear in a cave, would illustrate that better. No animal ever hibernates like that out in the open. And plus, I don't think lions exist in places where they're like, snowy winters. So just another gripe with the card. It's still functional and I can still read with it, but yeah. Movement, and this is lovely. You see air movement and the movement of the windmill, and obviously the movement of the entire island on the ostrich's back. So this is telling you it's time to move, time to go. Keep moving, keep the energy flowing. Coming to life, it's a statue turning into a live person, holding on to this crystal thing, like a bubble maybe. I'm pretty sure it's a bubble, because when you come to life, you kind of, go from a stony, emotionless state of being into someone fully feeling things, and I'm pretty sure that's what woke her up from, the statue form to begin with. And again, there's the butterfly. Yeah, so it kind of symbolizes sentience here, I guess. Making a choice. This is a classic card. Almost every tarot deck and oracle deck will have some variation of this. And I do love that both choices seem equally beautiful. It's not like one of those you either choose hell or heaven, and yeah, so I like that it's open-ended and you kind of get a beautiful ending no matter what you choose. Dry desert. It's just wandering in this desert plain where there's nothing, but again, there is hope and there is life in the desert. So you might be feeling like you're down on your emotions, your spirit, but there is hope, and at some point you get through it and you're still making your mark on it, which is good, which is a good thing, and you can kind of trace where you've been. Magic prayer. So it's a beautiful card, a bit out of place here, but it kind of means that you want to get help from elsewhere, and yeah. But I guess because of how it's drawn, the energy is coming out from her, so I guess you could pray to your higher self to kind of get guidance from your higher spirit. Peaks of joy. this lady dancing and stretching in the wind. It's beautiful. Spark. So I'm pretty sure this means spark of, creativity. You can see her literally creating energy from, and heart energy, and other forms of energy from playing the violin. And that's lovely. You're creating things through creativity, and you're sparking things into life. Yeah. Education. Fun fact about this card, I did a reading for someone who I think would aspire to be a spiritual guide, and this card came up. So to me, I felt like, because other cards like the Stormfield and Solitude came out, so I felt like the education was about educating herself rather than other people. Because if you look at it, she's the one actually reading the book, and the spirit of knowledge, I guess, is facing her. So that's kind of, she herself has to learn first before she can teach other people. And I think that's a lovely message, and it applies to all of us. We have to learn things first before we go out there and try to guide other people and help other people. Commitment. Self-explanatory. Cleaning house. This is my absolute favorite card of the deck. I love it because of how the inhabitants of the house has broomsticks for legs, and it's so beautiful. The symbolism is so great in that, rather than you using tools to kind of clean your house, to kind of get rid of things that don't serve you anymore, you yourself are the tool. So you have what it takes and what is required to do the cleaning yourself. You don't require any external aid, and that is just so beautiful to me. Heal the ouch. I thought that was cute but out of place, but it's a soothing energy, and it's really adorable, so I can't complain about it because it's just so adorable, but slightly out of place. Protecting treasure. This could be telling you to keep your secrets to yourself, or to keep some kind of information to yourself, because sometimes we do tend to overshare, and that's detrimental to a lot of things, like your relationships and your careers and things like that. So sometimes it's good to protect the information about yourself rather than freely giving out. Obviously generosity is great, but at the same time we must be discerning about what we give away. Like I always say, someone who gives too much will eventually burn out and be unable to give further. So if you do want to provide a service or to help others long term, it's best to protect yourself first, and you are the treasure. Follow the leader. This is really cute. You're basically following the fairy up to the tree house with a clock on it. It's just, rather than acting out on your own, it's time to seek guidance from someone else. Unexpected visitors, and this is an extremely Alice in Wonderland vibe, complete with this rabbit mouse thing. So it's telling you that you might get unexpected surprises, and to me the upright version is a pleasant surprise, while the reversed one would be a more unpleasant, unexpected kind of development, or someone coming into your life. So this is a really lovely, beautiful, vibrant card. Wide open. So I like that this card comes right after that, just as the movement card came right after Deep Freeze. So you kind of have that sense of, moving on, resolving your past issues. So the wide open card is great because of how literally wide open she is. And it is to tell you to start accepting guidance, accepting other external influence, and to come out of your shell. Like, it's literally the opposite of this solitude card. Come out of your shell, and it's time to start sharing again, time to start connecting freely with the things around you. Details. I love that the magnifying glass is magnifying the word clarity, an important note. So it's telling you to start paying attention to details. I mean, sometimes it's always tempting for us to say we'll just trust in our intuition and it's going to guide us along everywhere where we need to go. But in a lot of times we do have to pay attention to the small details. A lot of times, practical matters. As much as we kind of want to just go with our intuition, it's not always possible. So sometimes when making your plans, you do have to pay attention to details. Strength. This amazing yoga-like pose, and she's holding up the world with this huge tree at the top. So she's holding up a fertile, life-filled world, life-supporting world, and she herself looks like a goddess of nature, or like Mother Gaia herself. And this is an impressive card. She's holding on to this position while holding on to the planet. So to me, I do like to see an Earth version of the Strength card from time to time, because in the tarot it's always this fiery kind of strength, and I do love that the more gentle kind of earth nurturing kind of energy can also be seen as strength. Sad embrace. So she's basically embracing herself, and I guess loneliness is a part of the sadness. And I mean, I do like that these cards exist, and they kind of tell you a lot about your current situation. And when it's reversed, there's time to get out of it. But to me, it's also restful, and sometimes it's good to let the sadness, just let it out. Be honest with yourself about what you're feeling. Coming apart. So, it's a symmetrical kind of thing, but not entirely symmetrical because of the hair. It reminds me of an ink blot, to be honest. Like, if you darken it enough, you'll be like, what do you see? Is it a frog or a butterfly? And I think this card is lovely. It's showing that, sometimes relationships or situations are no longer the best for us, and it's time to split. Sacred pool. I find this lovely. It's like a place for rest, a place where you can dip and be fully connected to your awareness. I feel like when you do meditation, this is where you're going, into a sacred pool of within you. What I don't like about it is how similar it is to the magical stream card, but I guess you could say that the stream has movement and it flows into the sacred pool. So if you follow the stream, you eventually get here, which I think it's tranquil and better for self-growth. Wishing well. This card is interesting. Let me show you what the guidebook says. It says desire is the sacred impulse for life, feel it but let go of all attachment to ownership. So what it's saying is, at the wishing well, be careful what you wish for, and when you do wish for something, do it because it's for your greater good rather than because you want to own something. Talisman, definitely a protection card. Talismans are traditionally created to protect you from something. There is this, I have no idea what that is. Like a dragon with a tadpole tail or something, and you can see the Triskelay on her, which is a symbol of protection as well. And is the yin and yang with the bagua, the 8 trigrams, which is also about protection. And she is stepping on a runestone, which is, again, well, it could be used as a protective amulet or, you know, talisman. So I'm not sure what this is, but I have seen this symbol in a lot of places, so I will have to look that up. I'm pretty sure it's also a traditional sacred symbol. So all in all, you see this, you know, protected. She's so protected by so many things. And I guess in a way it's telling you to build your own talisman. The talisman is separate from all these different values and cultures. So just pick what you want, protect yourself your way rather than someone else's way. And the compass, it's behind, just with a different color scheme. So yeah, basically it's like follow your inner compass to where you need to go. And Moonlight, I don't know why, but this card reminds me of the Into the Unknown card. Feels like, even though it's obviously not the same balcony, but it feels like it could be like an alternate version of the same balcony. But here you don't get the same kind of, you know, the red groundedness and the purple intuition. What you get is this earth color and the moon. So like most of the moon cards, and there's an owl here, it's probably revealing of, you know, inner truths or secrets, or, you know, discovering something hidden about yourself or the world. Magical Map Shifter. So I really like this card. He's blindfolded, but he's shifting all these different energies around, and I mean, it feels like alchemy to me, and at the same time it feels like, you know, it's shifting your situation, and your situation can change. It's not fixed. Let me show you what the book says. It says spirit orchestrates everyone's destiny. So to me, rather than, you know, predestination, or, you know, predestination always smacks of a lack of free will to me. I feel like you're the one in control of it. Your spirit orchestrates your destiny rather than some higher power telling you what to do. But of course there's nothing wrong if you do want to take the path of, you know, whatever the higher calling is. Yeah. But I do feel like there is more free will to this, but at the same time, because he is blindfolded, so you kind of lose your physical sight and be in touch with the inner spiritual sight. Listening, which is amazing, telling you to, you know, shut up and listen, which is what a lot of us don't do. And I like that listening is to music. There's, you know, spiritual information. You could kind of call it music, because musical notes are simply information transcribed into symbols, right? And the last card, Encouragement. This is the other giraffe card. I thought it's a bit anticlimactic to end off with a more plain card. Again, that's not a big issue, and it's just lovely getting encouragement and safety from a higher figure, you know, a parent figure perhaps. So while we're still under an hour, this is my first ever full-length walkthrough, so I didn't realize that it would take this long. But again, it's because it's an oracle deck. If it's a tarot deck, I guess I wouldn't have to say so much about each card. So I will do a preliminary, like a general reading, I guess, live, I guess, and my situation for today and the near future. So I'll do a 3-card spread, just to show you how the cards work. So what should I be doing, or what should I be aware of in the current situation? So I've got the Talisman card, the Peaks of Joy, and the Coming Apart. I tend to shuffle a lot when I'm doing readings because I'm listening to what the cards tell me, and so when the cards tell me to stop, I will stop. So it seems like I'll have to be building up my own protection in order to get to the Peaks of Joy. Well, I am feeling a bit free nowadays because of the graduation. Of course, I'm looking for a job right now. So Coming Apart. So I have been feeling a bit trapped with some people lately, and I guess it's telling me that in order to achieve, you know, the Peaks of Joy, I'm going to have to protect myself, set my own boundaries, and separate myself from them. We are not, you know, a conglomerate, kind of a single entity. We are separate, and we should all embrace our individualities. So in order to do that, we'll have to set our own boundaries. Well, I will have to set my own boundaries. And so that's about it for this video. Again, this is what the box looks like. It's the Enchanted map oracle cards. Honestly, one of my favorite oracle cards, oracle card decks. Mainly because of how dreamlike it looks. I will probably be doing the Good Tarot in the next video, but really it depends on which cards are calling me when I pick up the camera. So none of these is planned, and I have a ton of decks I would like to share. So until next time, have a lovely, blessed day ahead, and yeah, subscribe if you do like what you see, and give me a like if you like it, just to, you know, show me that people are listening. But it's okay if you don't, and I would like to see some comments, because, you know, my interpretations you might not agree with it, or might have another better, or well, not better, but, you know, alternative, well, maybe better alternative kind of interpretations to the cards, and I would love to hear that. I think open-ended cards are lovely because you can, well, you can have so many different interpretations depending on, you know, the way you were brought up, your situation, your personality, you know, even the language you were brought up with. So I think that's wonderful. So yeah, until next time, See ya. Again, this is Singy from Sanctum of the Soul.